everyone, and welcome to First Things First. How are you, Nick?
I'm great.
Just like to throw them off every once in a while.
Not only is your hair growing, now you got a little something going to the side. We're not quite European. You're going across the Atlantic, but you're not a European soccer player yet. We like it, though.
Look, it looks
the people
so
is spoke. The streets are talking, Nick.
Nick, you look good. We are complimenting you. I like the look. You look.
I'll give you both.
Dressed.
Say the amount of money if we can talk basketball right now. Anything other than this.
All right. How about I tell you what's on the show?
Please.
Hall of Famer Cris Carter, our NBA guy with great hair, Nick Wright. I'm just
kind of hair
Jenna Wolfe. Here we go. Big show today. Well, first of all, we will talk some football. Big Ben admits he did lack some leadership last season. We will talk some basketball because the Warriors say Kevin Durant will be back for the finals. But we will start with the Eastern Conference Finals. Game 4, Bucks, Raptors. Hey, remember when this was Milwaukee's series to lose? Not anymore. This one's up for grabs now. Toronto took down Milwaukee 120-102 to even up this series at 2 games apiece. With a hobbled Kawhi Leonard, it was Kyle Lowry stepping up, leading the way for Toronto, scoring 25 points, while their bench finally showed up, scored more than twice as much as the Bucks bench unit did. This series now shifts back to Milwaukee for Game 5 on Thursday night. Kawhi Leonard kicking off our post-game reaction.
I feel good. Keep going and keep fighting. We have a chance to, make history.
This is one of the nights that, we knew Kawhi was a little bit limited, and we had to come out and be aggressive for him. And the great thing about having him on your team is he still gets all the attention. And we fed off of that, drive, kick, swing. He gets in the lane, kick out, and, that's the benefit of having a superstar like him on the team.
Still got to get better, and I'm sticking that game plan. Just got to play with more energy, execute better. But our feeling is the same. It doesn't change. They did their job. They protected home, and we got to do our job now.
Nick, many thought the Raptors couldn't do this if Kawhi Leonard wasn't 100%, didn't give you 100%. Well, Kawhi Leonard was not 100%, and the Raptors did this. How were they able to even up this series?
Well, this was the way the Raptors were 17-5 in the 22 games Kawhi Leonard missed this season. And what Kyle Lowry says there, the drive, kick, swing, that is an enormous part of what they do. Kawhi Leonard drives to the basket. The defense collapses on him. He kicks out to the perimeter to an open guy, and they go good shot, great shot. That open guy then swings it to the corner. That's how Norman Powell can shoot 13 threes in this game. That's how Fred VanVleet can get back on track for the first time since round 1 of these NBA playoffs. This was a wildly impressive and obviously incredibly important win for Toronto. Important because you go down 3-1, you're dead. And impressive because the Bucks this year had only lost back-to-back games once all season prior to last night. They were 22-1 coming off a loss this year with an average margin of victory of 15 points per game. So they didn't just beat you after they had lost. They crushed you, and they were able to do it, to your key point, Jenna, with Kawhi Leonard having a quiet offensive night, with Pascal Siakam having a near non-existent offensive night. Those are the 2 best offensive and defensive players the Raptors have. Both of those guys were extraordinary defensively, but you needed, to steal a line from the Golden State Warriors, the strength in numbers Raptors. There are others on the Raptors led by Kyle Lowry, but also Marc Gasol and the bench unit, Ibaka, Powell, and VanVleet, to all play some of their best games of the series. That's how we now have the Eastern Conference Finals in a best-of-3.
Yeah, not only during the regular season, we were able to see that Toronto, without Kawhi in the lineup, that they were able to be an elite basketball team. And it's hard to do that in the NBA. And that was one of the things, too, that maybe the reason why Kawhi didn't get a lot of MVP votes, because, one, he missed the 22 games, but because they were so good without him. Now in the playoffs, 3 games, he scored less than 25 points. All those games, though, ironically, they've won because the team, the others, have made great contributions. Kyle Lowry stepping up, and I like what he said in the soundbite there, where he talked about, we knew going into the game. Kawhi's not injured, but we knew after playing those 52 minutes, most of his career, he wasn't going to have the type of energy. Now, the amazing thing about Kawhi was the energy and the injury didn't suffer on the defensive end because he was still excellent. He sacrificed that on the offensive end, but Kyle Lowry knew that going into the game. Van Fleet, people had talked about for a long time how bad he was shooting. Jenna, you would love this. On Monday, he had to leave, go to Illinois, watch the birth of his second child. So he said that watching a new child come into the world really gave him a sense of perspective that, you know, it's not the end of the world. You know something? I got a good life, and propelled him into having a good game. But you talked about it, Nick, the drive, the kick, and the swing. Those guys with those open shots in games 1 and 2, they were giving them up to Toronto. They weren't making them. Game number 4, they were able to make them. So now it's what's going to be the adjustment? Because now if Kawhi is not 100%, do I need 3 or 4 people in the lane? That's the adjustment that the Bucks are going to have to make going back to game number 5.
Just real quick on that point, the Raptors in games 1 and 2 had 40 uncontested shots and had an effective field goal percentage of under 45%. In games 3 and 4, they had 40 uncontested shots, the exact same number, but the effective field goal percentage was north of 60. The Bucks will, with their #1 league defense, they're going to give you open looks. If you're a bad shooter, you're going to be open the whole night. If you're an average shooter, you're going to be open a lot of the night. A lot of can you beat them comes down to can you hit those open shots? They hit enough of them last night to really dominate this game. And it was, I mean, the Bucks didn't have it within double digits throughout the fourth quarter, within single digits throughout the fourth quarter.
So the Raptors have now won 2 games in a row with Kawhi on Giannis, defending Giannis. How do the Bucks now moving forward? How do they make that adjustment to get Giannis back into this?
If I was Giannis, I wouldn't be trying to get all the way to the goal. We talked about during the regular season, no one had led the NBA in unassisted dunks at the rate that Giannis had done it until Shaq. Shaq was the last player that we had seen be able to do that. But now in the playoffs, where you get more clutching, you get more grabbing, you get more physicality, but also you get better players. You get a defensive concentration, a game plan, where your scouts and everything are doing everything to be able to prevent Giannis from doing what he wants to do. Now, earlier in the game, Giannis got to the cup. But as the game goes on, Giannis still's got to be able to develop a shot between 7 to 12 feet. That's an area they give him to shoot it. He won't shoot it right now. And so that's a problem because Kawhi is not going to let him run him over. Kawhi, great anticipation, always keeps his chest right in front of him and has been a problem, has been the best defender. And there have been a lot of defenders that have guarded Giannis throughout the playoffs. But from a shooting standpoint, no one has given Giannis more problems than Kawhi has.
And this is, I mean, by the way, nobody gives LeBron more problems than Kawhi. Nobody gives Durant more problems than Kawhi. This is where Kawhi, what has catapulted Kawhi into best player alive discussion is the evolution offensively, because he has been this level defender when healthy for the last 5 years, ever since he won Finals MVP and maybe before that. To answer your question, Jenna, this is gut check time now for the Milwaukee Bucks. Are they the team that I believe they are, which is the team that's going to win the championship? All those teams, go down the list, when en route to winning their first title, they faced some real adversity. The Warriors, when this whole thing began, Round 1 against Memphis, down 2-1. Tony Allen's ruining them. The Cavs, when they won their title, they 2-2 with this very same Toronto team, losing 2 in Toronto. You can go back as far as you want. The Heat down 3-2 to Boston. Real, after losing the finals, real adversity. Will Milwaukee respond to it? Because, Chris, this is the first adversity they've had all year.
Yes.
They've had no significant injuries. They haven't had a single 3-game losing streak all year, just their second 2-game losing streak. How do they respond to their first taste of adversity of the season?
All right, we'll find out Game 5 Thursday night from Milwaukee, but we got ourselves a series in the East. Coming up now, we'll go to the West. Could KD pick L.A. over New York? That's next on FS1, and you can always check us out on the Fox Sports channel on SiriusXM. We'll be right back. Welcome back. All right, we'll talk Kevin Durant in just a second. But first, Raptors-Bucks Game 4. Giannis going baseline for the thunderous one-handed slam.
So there's in the first few minutes of the game. Bucks jump out 12-5. Giannis has 3 dunks. Raptors call a quick timeout, and they really put the clamps on Giannis from that moment forward. At this point, it looked like it was going to be Game 2. Giannis snarling and stomping all over the court.
More from this one. Chris Middleton throwing the sweet one-handed pass to a wide-open Eric Bledsoe for the layup.
Oh, this is one of the few buckets Eric Bledsoe.
Man.
Chris Middleton, great pass right there. He puts the little, this is the Chris Paul. Puts the other English on it, little underspin on it.
Middleton was excellent. Bledsoe, tough series for him.
Finally, Marc Gasol finding Kawhi. Backdoor cut, and Kawhi rattles the rim over Giannis.
Listen, this is a great play by Kawhi. Raptors fans had to be anxious watching when he landed here and the way he was looking down at his legs. He did not appear to me, to be 100% yesterday.
No, definitely wasn't 100%, but this was a great job by Toronto, putting Gasol with the high post. He's known as an excellent passer. They got Kawhi a couple times backdoor and got him a couple easy looks.
All right, moving on to Kevin Durant now. While he continues to nurse that sore calf ahead of the NBA Finals, we continue to wonder where he'll be playing basketball next season. The Warriors owner, Joe Lacob, not wondering, says he's confident KD will re-sign next season. But according to a new report, the Clippers and the Knicks are now seen as equal threats to land Kevin Durant. KD's manager, Rich Kleiman, said absolutely no decision has yet to be made.
100% undecided, and I'm waiting on Kevin. You know, that's the truth. I think there's a feeling that this thing is like war games, and everybody's kind of like
playing a role.
Yeah, playing chess like years out, but. When somebody gets to the level of basketball that he's at, you can't juggle focus like that. There's so many things he's juggling too. He's not scripting his future while he's playing the way he plays and practices the way he practices. He really doesn't know, and I really don't know.
Have our opinions changed with what we've seen and his injury and all of it on what the best option for Kevin Durant is next season?
Mine has not. And with respect to Rich Kleiman, who does great in the business world and has been a confidant and partner with KD for a long time, and Joe Lacob, who's proven himself to be one of the best owners in basketball, the hell are they supposed to say? What's Joe Lacob going to say? Listen, we know we're re-signing Clay. We don't know about Kevin. No, of course. He's going to say we're confident we're re-signing them both. And what's Rich Kleiman going to say on this Wall Street Journal sports panel? No, we know what we're doing, but we're not telling anybody. I mean, they're saying, what they have to say here. My opinion has not changed because I don't think any of Kevin Durant's plans have changed, which has been he was considering leaving Golden State last season. And it wasn't until the end of the year run that they were fully confident he was coming back a year ago. All year long, everything's been moving towards the New York Knicks. And if he wants his best chance to not only build his empire, but to separate himself from LeBron in hopes of passing LeBron, doing it by establishing your hub across the country as opposed to across the street from LeBron in Los Angeles is the smartest move. So, no, my opinion has not changed 1% that Kevin Durant's going to be a Knick next year.
So you think that he's got to go to New York compared to going to the Clippers?
Oh, yes, because much like LeBron going to the Lakers, I don't think it's just about basketball. I think it's about setting up your post-basketball empire in one of the biggest cities in the country. And LA's a big city, but LeBron's sucking up a lot of oxygen there as far as people that want to be involved with athlete-turned-mogul. They've got Magic Johnson there. You now have LeBron there. Kobe's there as well. Derek Jeter's no longer in New York. He's in Miami. There's a space for that in New York City.
I'm going to stay away from the business side because I don't necessarily agree with that. Okay. Because I believe that in L.A., especially with the Clippers, if you win a championship, because also I do realize it's the Knicks. If I could pick, would I rather win a championship with the Knicks or with the Clippers? Of course. But, I mean, man, this is about trying to win. And anywhere he goes and adds a championship, he's going to add to his legacy. You guys can argue about, who's going to make more money off the court. That don't mean nothing to me. This is about sports. It's a sports show. And I believe that right now, all these players realize how much winning has to do with it. And Kevin Durant, he has seen since he went down with that calf strain, they have not lost a game. They have not missed a beat. He's responding to people saying that, if they win Kevin Durant's, his 2 other rings, they're going to be, you're going to have to have an asterisk on it and everything. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I believe the basketball is the most important part of it. And I believe that the Clippers are in the game. Doc Rivers, Jerry West, Steve Ballmer, they are in the game. And I think that series battle 4-2 against the Clippers, I believe it gave Kevin Durant No, maybe a little more confidence that if I was able to join this crew of guys that we can get some stuff done.
Where do you think Kevin Durant has, if winning is really what's on his mind and his biggest priority in playing basketball, where do you think he's got the best chance to win?
Other than Golden State?
Other than Golden State.
Because obviously, if it's just winning.
Then he would stay where he is.
If it's just winning and if it's just money, he'd stay where he is. So, which is why the fact that it's even on the board that he's leaving, to me, makes it pretty obvious that he's leaving, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Because the two things we hear people talk about, winning and money, Golden State can offer him the most money. It's the best chance to win. So it's about legacy components as well, even if we set the business part aside. I don't know that the Clippers are in a much better position moving forward than the Knicks, because the Knicks are a blank slate. The Knicks have 2 max cap spots and the ability to really be in the game for Anthony Davis. So now it's unlikely they would get Durant, a max free agent, and Anthony Davis, but to me it's very unlikely they would get Durant and neither of those other two. It would be Durant plus Anthony Davis or Durant plus all-star level guard X, whether it's Kyrie, Kimba, Jimmy Butler. That makes you an instant contender. Is that a better spot than Durant plus what they already have in L.A. with the Clippers? Because they have less ability to easily sign another max guy? To me, it is. Is the East still an easier route than the West, even though we are seeing the East get stronger? To me, it is. And does New York City have an allure off the court different than Los Angeles? To me, it does. So for all those reasons, but even if we just want to talk with basketball, the Knicks with Kevin Durant plus an all-star are an instant championship contender.
Does that allure, though, affect his legacy? You think his legacy is affected by whatever decision he makes after Golden State?
Well, it depends on if he wins. Like his legacy, I mean, he doesn't want to leave with his legacy being Golden State, even if they three-peat. Kevin Durant with 3 championships, but they were in Golden State. He couldn't win without them. That's what the story will be. He wasn't a champion. He lost to them. He had them down 3-1. He had to be able to join them. And also, you have to realize, though, Draymond, Clay, Steph, they got 4. LeBron's got 3 championships. So you're keeping count of this, and I believe that Golden State and those initial 3 guys who were there, it means more to them because they were in the program, drafted by the program, cultivated by the Golden State Warriors.
And I understand that right now, all of a sudden, there seems to be some public momentum towards, well, maybe KD will stay. If that was on the board, I believe this calf strain and what has happened since then has removed it entirely. If KD had never gotten hurt, and he'd continued on this torrid pace he was on. He was averaging 39, 5, and 5 in the 8 games prior. And Steph, by the way, had been struggling somewhat during that same stretch. And they go on to win a championship. That validates the previous 2 years in a different way. Maybe not to the same degree as winning elsewhere, but it validates them in a different way. Like, guys, I'm averaging 40 points. I had a 50-point playoff game. I beat the Clippers essentially by myself. Like, what are we talking about here? But seeing what they did without him.
A sweep.
Even if he comes back and he's great in the finals, even if he wins another finals MVP, there will still be people saying, okay, but look
what you did in the round.
Were you a necessity or a luxury? The same way if LeBron had never won that championship in Cleveland. If Kyrie had missed and Steph had made, and LeBron had been to those 4 finals in Cleveland but lost all 4, you know what people would say? Well, yeah, you've got 2 rings. You had to go to Miami to get him. You had to team up with Wade and Bosh. They would find a way to chip away at it. So for Durant, the only mountain left to climb is one that Golden State doesn't present. I think New York is the biggest and the most attractive mountain to him.
All right, coming up a little later, we'll talk about what KD's availability will be in the NBA Finals. But coming up next is Big Ben's new attitude enough to get the Steelers back to the playoffs. That's next on First Things First. We have some great baseball action coming your way Saturday on Fox at 7 Eastern. Most of the country will see the Red Sox battle the Astros. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Time now for Say What? Aaron Rodgers and his teammates are at OTAs with their new coach, Matt LaFleur. However, their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, was more excited to talk about the ending of Game of Thrones. Say what?
You come down to the end, and Tyrion says, the person with the best story is Bran, who, by the way, 3 episodes ago said he wasn't Bran Stark anymore. No, Jon had a better story. Dany had a better story. Arya had a better story. Sansa had a better story. Tyrion had a better story. Varys had a better story. Bronn a lot better story. Jamie, better story. Xerxes, probably better stories. Any Baratheon, better story. Here's the thing, though. Here's my last theory about it. If Bran, the three-eyed raven, who's all about the health of the realm, let's think about what he did. He basically wanted the throne the whole time because he's the one that told the Starks, knowing that Sansa would tell Tyrion, knowing that Tyrion would talk to Varys, knowing they'd scheme for Dany's death, knowing that would piss her off, which led her to be the Mad Queen. So he, the entire time, kind of set this whole thing up, and at the end he goes, oh yeah, I don't want to be king. Oh, but why did I travel all this way to be here? No. Look, I love the opportunity to be in the show, which most people probably don't think I was, but I was there. I love the show, but the writers were also doing Star Wars, so I think they might have been a little busy this last season.
Okay, so I'm the only person on the set that watched Game of Thrones, and so all of his critiques are well-founded. Mm-hmm. However, I'm going to pull back the curtain on our show just a little bit, because Jenna was so annoyed that whole, there's more. Oh, you're going to talk about this more.
We get it. You've watched the show, Aaron.
Meanwhile, that's good. Oh, I like it. I don't know what Cris is. Cris is an odd pose.
What were you going to say?
I don't know what Cris is wearing is what I was going to say, but then it registered. But Jenna, while she's there ranting and waving, nice, guys. Nice. Raving about Aaron Rodgers, who was disappointed in the Game of Thrones finale. I've heard Jenna Wolfe complain about a Seinfeld finale that aired 20 years ago.
Because those writers didn't write that finale, and they decided they were going to incorporate everything into one show. Every character, every plot line. It doesn't work. Oh, I see what you're doing.
The exact thing
I saw what you
that you were upset about Aaron Rodgers?
I see.
Except his show ended 2 days ago. Your show ended 20 years ago.
I saw what you did there. Okay, that was good.
Now we can move on. Sorry about that,
Can we talk more about your skinny legs?
I'll be here when they come back from the refrigerator.
Go ahead.
Time for stories to start your morning. That was good. Carson Wentz is trying to bounce back from 2 straight seasons cut short by injury. Yesterday, the 26-year-old franchise QB resumed activity at OTAs without any limitations. Head coach Doug Peterson says he is full go. Cece, how much pressure is on Wentz to win right now?
There's a lot of pressure, but I like all the signs. I like the fact that he's able to remove the knee brace. A lot of quarterbacks, once they get their knee injured, they end up wearing that knee brace the rest of their career. So there is some freedom, and there is something in his mind psychologically when you're able to take that knee brace, because it's encumbersome. It doesn't allow you to move laterally as much as you'd like to. It's there more for protection and stabilization, so it lets you know that his leg is very, very stable. Now he can just concentrate on other things. So I like where he is.
And a full off season, which is something he obviously didn't have last year, and something that you would hope. Last year he couldn't even start the season, regular season, at the beginning of the year. So now he's going to have a full off season, come into a season fully healthy for the first time since the year he almost won league MVP before his initial major injury. Wentz should be the best quarterback in his division by a wide margin. We'll see if he can play to that level this year.
All right, moving on to the New England Patriots. They've reportedly signed Julian Edelman to a 2-year extension. It includes $12 million in guaranteed money for the 3-time Super Bowl champ. See, you like this move for the Patriots?
I like it for Edelman. He's really worked himself into being one of the best slot receivers that we have in the game. His story is epic as far as being a quarterback converted to a wide receiver. He is the typical New England Patriot slot receiver. He's their best receiver on the roster, and he's been underpaid for a long time. New England's been yo-yoing him, threatening him as if they were going to cut him. So now I'm glad that he has a little bit of leverage. Josh Gordon, not on the roster. Gronk, retired, at least for now. That's why he was able to get this. So happy for Julian.
And he's obviously earned it, but we talk about the Patriots getting guys at bargain basement prices. Julian Edelman was scheduled to make $2 million this year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's bargain, and then there's getting a guy for 20% of what he could get on the open market. Even this, $18 million with 2 extra years is a bargain price compared to what other receivers are going for.
What did Cole Beasley get in Buffalo?
I mean, right. I mean, guys that are...
that and a wrap up.
Or when guys win Super Bowl MVP, what they get overpaid in the post-Super Bowl MVP market, you got to be happy for Edelman.
All right, back to the NBA now. Toronto took down Milwaukee 120-102 last night to even up the series at 2 games apiece. With a hobbled Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry led the way for Toronto, scored 25 points. And the Raptors bench outscored Milwaukee's 48-23. Nick, can the Raptors supporting cast continue to carry them?
Well, not for Game 5. If they're going to steal Game 5 in Milwaukee, they're going to need the stars to show up in large order. But can they duplicate this in what we now know will be a Game 6 back in Toronto, either up 3-2 or down 2-3? That's, to me, the question. But they carried them last night. Kawhi and Pascal took care of the defense. Everyone else took care of the offense. This was a tremendous, dominant win for the Raptors.
Jenna, their bench has been great. Not only this regular season, past regular season. This is one of the things why we think they're one of the better teams in the NBA. So I wouldn't be shocked at all, Jenna. Just like I told you, I wouldn't be shocked if we came here today and it was 2-2.
Said that.
I wouldn't be shocked at all because they do have some mismatches and they're going to get some wide open shots because that's what Milwaukee does better than anyone or worse than anyone in the NBA.
All right, moving on to the Warriors as they wait to see who they'll face in the finals. Team doctors are waiting to see how Kevin Durant is responding to treatment for his calf strain. He missed the entire Western Conference Finals, which turned out to be just 4 games. Warriors owner Joe Lacob says KD will be coming back for the finals, which starts next Thursday. That'll be 3 weeks that he'll have missed. Nick, do the Warriors need KD to win the title?
If I may just real quick, I find Joe Lacob's comments really interesting. You typically don't hear an owner giving medical updates, especially when the team and the player don't seem to fully have those medical updates. And in team sports, you almost always go the other way with this. Next man up, we can, you know what I mean? We are confident with the group we have no matter what. Because they're kind of semi-recruiting KD in the midst of this, I think that has to do with some of these comments. Now, to directly answer your question, they can win a championship without him. Now, I think the Bucks are the best team in basketball. Bucks got to get there first. And so whether they do or don't have KD, they won't be my pick. But I'm not going to do what Charles Barkley and a lot of people have done, which is the moment KD limped off the court against Houston, say if he doesn't come back, they can't win. And if you did say that the moment after the Rockets game, I hope the 5 games since then you have watched and you have seen that, oh, wait, this team can instantly go back to another gear and they can be dominant that way. Now, do they have a smaller margin of error? Yes. Is more asked of Steph and Clay and Draymond and Iggy? Of course. But can they become champions if Kevin Durant never plays again for them this year or in future years? Of course they can. If you had any doubt about that, to me, they removed that doubt with the sweep over Portland.
Yeah, I think the Portland series, they definitely did send a message, but we are talking about Kevin Durant and where the Warriors struggled and where they struggled in Portland because Portland outplayed them. The minutes, Portland led more than Golden State. And why? Because the offense. They struggle offensively at times without Kevin Durant. You got a guy that's dropping 39, 38 points. He was playing the best basketball of all the Warriors. Now, I understand. Yes, Steph has picked up the slack in that Western Conference Finals, but offensively, you need Kevin Durant. Offensively, you need a 3-man rotation that you don't have just one of the stars because there are moments where they have Clay on the court and they are challenged offensively. There are moments they have just Steph on the court. They are challenged offensively. So, no, Kevin Durant is that answer. He's the most constant and the highest percentage, most efficient scorer that we have in NBA and one of the most efficient in NBA history. That's where they miss him the most.
And you said something really interesting yesterday, C, which was when KD went down, the question was, Steve Kerr even said it, like, we got to replace 39 minutes, 34 points, what he was averaging in the postseason. How are we going to do it? And the answer was the Warriors' catchphrase, strength in numbers, because it's not just that Steph and Draymond have upped their level of play. It's that the others, the much maligned Warriors' lack of depth, those guys play better in the offensive system that they run when KD's not out there. When they all have to touch the ball, when they all have to screen hard and cut hard, they are more involved. It is easier for Alfonso McKinney and Quinn Cook to knock down open shots when they expect to get those open shots. So I'm not making the argument, I want to make it clear. They're better without Kevin Durant, even though they win at a higher percentage. I understand the importance that he has, but I think there are players on the team that are better without Kevin Durant.
And the reason why is because every player that I've ever met if you give him a shot on the offensive end, if you run a set for him, if you get him out on the break and allow him to utilize his athleticism, when they go down to the other end, they play defense harder.
Of course.
All right? So they buy more into everything that's going on. It's hard to be like, you know something? You're just going to be a defensive specialist. I want you to do all the grunt work. I want you to take charges. I want you to do all that, but you're not going to be able to shoot the ball. You empower the other players by being able to move the ball around. Everyone feels like they're involved.
And keep in mind, they might get KD back. They will probably get Iggy back. And now there are these questions that maybe even Boogie comes back at some point for the finals, that he might not be wiped out. So this could be a different team we see in the next round.
100%. And see, you mentioned the play in Game 4 that stood out to you more than anything was the play where Steph seemingly ran 250 yards on one play, doing everything. That element of the Warriors' offense, understandably, goes away to a degree when KD's out there, because Steph will toss the ball to Durant. No, okay, I can conserve my energy here because I'm not going to get it back. I'm just going to, KD's going to isolate and take a super high efficient jump shot. So that, even if on that possession, that's a great possession for the Warriors, that's also an easier possession for the opposition to defend. Because you're not chasing Steph around everything. You're not dealing with all that.
And people need to realize if Kevin Durant is not there, Draymond Green is going to be on the attack on the offensive end because there's more shots to be taken. There's more space on the court. That was something that Portland and their forwards never adjust to. They were surprised. Why is this guy getting ready to shoot? Because Kevin Durant is not there. I do believe that the Warriors, because of their overall experience and because their bench players are comfortable, they can win a championship without Kevin Durant. But him being out there, man, that offensive end, that's his specialty. And then you don't have those laws in the offense, which we've seen even in the Portland series where they were down most of the time.
All right, let's switch gears, talk some football now. A lot of questions surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers after the team missed the playoffs last year. Ben Roethlisberger took a lot of heat for his criticism of teammates along the way. This year, no Antonio Brown, no Lev Bell, no more excuses. Big Ben recently attempted to apologize to AB for some on-the-field comments he made. Yesterday, he admitted there are ways for him to improve his demeanor off the field as well.
You're talking leadership and you're talking relationships. This sport, relationships change on a yearly basis because guys are here and gone. And so you have to do your best to try and realize what it takes for each guy to develop the best relationship you can. And when it comes to leadership and things like that, we didn't make the playoffs last year. We didn't win our division. So I lacked in leadership because that's my job as the leader of this team, is to get us to the playoffs. So I'm going to need to focus and refocus my energy and time on how can I be a better leader to get us back to the playoffs.
See, you mind what Ben Roethlisberger had to say, that he will improve as a leader this coming season?
Well, this is the thing about Ben. Ben has shown through his career that he can be a great leader. But there are going to be times where you're learning to be a leader where you're going to make some mistakes. And Ben hadn't had the type of accountability that made him learn from making mistakes because he's been the franchise quarterback. And they've allowed him in that Pittsburgh locker room because they had other leaders that would lead certain parts of the team. Ben didn't have to lead the whole team. Now, because Antonio and because other things, we're starting to find out, how it's been in Pittsburgh. But you can't accomplish what Ben Roethlisberger had accomplished and not be a leader. It's just those moments that he decides that I'm going to tell people, the offensive, what we should have run at the time. I'm going to call people out as far as that was someone's assignment. Typically things we don't do as a teammate and being part of that football family. You don't let people in on that information. And Ben has decided throughout his career, I'm going to do that to protect himself, compared to taking some of that responsibility, putting that blame on, that's the coach's fault. That's the wide receiver's fault. And that's just all part of leadership and learning. I do believe that losing L. Bell, that wasn't his fault. But now Antonio, I believe it did make Ben, even at this stage, grow up a little more, because now this organization is dependent on him more than ever. And just like anything else, Jenna, they're like kids. If they want something, typically they will do what they have to do to be able to get it. Ben wanted that extension, all right? He wants to stay in Pittsburgh to be able to close out his legacy, and he doesn't like the way people have been talking and commenting about him.
What are the two types of focus you talk about with athletes all the time?
There's a focus and then a fine focus.
A fine focus is the one that you talk.
Goodness gracious.
I knew you'd get there, no problem.
I'm stressed out for you.
But when you talk about it, listen, everybody's focused, and then there are certain times, either aspects of your game, aspects of your career, aspects of your leadership style that you really need to address with a fine focus, that you need to hone in on. And Ben Roethlisberger, I think, has recognized, man, everybody can't be wrong. All the noise can't. So, more than a half dozen former teammates, plus people that cover the team locally, people that know the team nationally. There is a narrative that I'm not the greatest leader.
And you're not winning now.
Right, and you're not winning. But when it comes to questioning his leadership, there's probably initially been thought, as I think a lot of people would, well, what is a leader on a football team? I'm a warrior. I play hurt all the time.
Yeah.
The best thing we hear in pro sports is lead by example. I'm a first ballot Hall of Famer. How about winning? We haven't had a losing season in a decade. Been to 3 Super Bowls, won 2 of them. So if I check all those leadership boxes, then why is my leadership being questioned? Oh, it is exclusively because of exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
All the comments.
Shut your mouth.
Right. Well, and I don't listen. Since I talk for a living, I don't like to tell anyone to shut their mouth. I find it a little hypocritical. But
I'm happy to.
No problem. But be more judicious with your words, maybe. Be a little more careful with how you talk about your teammates and how you talk about the games. Because if it was just about 16 Sundays a year in the playoffs, nobody would question his leadership. He's a Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion who gets beat to hell and plays through injury. Those are the traits of a great leader. It's the post-game during the week stuff that undercut it.
Denny Green used to tell me, and we were in Minnesota, its nickname is the 10,000 Lakes because there's literally 10,000 lakes. Denny's a fisherman. So he used to use a lot of examples of fishing and lakes and water and everything. He said, Chris, I want you to have everyone in our organization, we're on the side of a lake. Everyone's got a rock in their hand. We're going to give them a chance to throw their rock. That means after the game, during the week in practice, every player, every person in the organization, they have the right to voice their opinion. Everyone throws their rock out there. Chris, you know something? All of our rocks are the same size. You know who's cast the biggest splash? Yours and mine. Because people believe in you, and they kind of believe in me, but they're also coming after my head. So everything I say will be magnified, and everything you say will be magnified. So be careful. Like, even though everyone else gets a chance to throw, realizing the type of splash that it's going to make, and it's not fair. It's just all a part of being a leader. It's all part of being a captain, and it's all part of you being paid the type of money that you're being paid. And that is the fishbowl that Ben Roethlisberger will be in. Mike Tomlin will also be in that same type of situation. So I understand. And as a leader, you have to continue to grow. And I believe that Ben, as you can see, they're not going to weigh him in at minicamp. I guarantee his weight's down from what it typically is at minicamp. You can see his face is clean shaven.
No, he wanted something this offseason.
Absolutely.
He definitely did. But he's been playing how many years now is this for him? He'll be entering?
16.
16 years, and he's yet to really show up and show what a true leader is. And I hope he is, and I love the way he plays. But you know me, I'd rather less noise off the field and more showing me on it.
He has done some of the things. He just hadn't been as consistent because you don't expect a guy to play with the type of injuries that he's played with and do the things that he's done and then come after the game and be like, the wide receiver ran the wrong route. I mean, that's a kid mistake.
I would expect you to empathize with him. It's so many similarities. Super high performer, just her mouth gets you in a little bit of trouble sometimes.
See, there you got there.
That's all.
I was waiting for it. Got to take a break right now. Coming up, how will KD's free agency decision shape his legacy? It is ahead on First Things First. First, Yahoo senior NBA writer Vincent Goodwill joins us now. Hey, Vinny.
Good morning.
At one point yesterday, Nick got a little heated with you. Vincent came out.
My mama don't even call me.
There you
I
go.
would have gone with the middle name as well.
No, you wouldn't. No.
Vincent Archibald Goodwill. I made that up. Just
Yeah, that ain't.
All right.
2 hold-ons.
That ain't.
Hold
on.
Hold on. He didn't say nothing the second time.
He asked the question, didn't even expect an answer.
That all happened.
The Lakers, Vinny, are not in the playoffs, but are in the news yet again. Go figure. On Monday, Magic Johnson went on TV with the airing of the grievances, listed the reasons why he abruptly quit on the team. The same day, new head coach Frank Vogel was introduced. Now reports are coming out that LeBron's camp is indeed concerned all this Lakers dysfunction will, quote, sabotage free agency. You don't say. All right, Vinny, how did the Lakers land a big name this summer with everything that has been going on within this organization?
Say less or say nothing at all. You go into the room, you bring the championship trophies, you bring LeBron in there, and you be quiet. And you let LeBron do the talking. Because you have to turn this thing over to him. The more that Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss and Tim Harris and all these other people talk, the less attractive, the less appealing it's going to be because you're going to look like a scattered outfit. And I think you have to turn this thing over to LeBron and Frank Vogel and Jason Kidd, too.
and you laugh, but the Jason Kidd part of it, I don't think Jason Kidd's a good coach, and I think the Bucks this year are a good example of it. But Jason Kidd is well respected amongst players. Mm-hmm. Players like Jason Kidd, a lot of the stars in this league in the beginning of their careers played against Jason Kidd. So I think Jason Kidd is actually a positive for recruitment.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily a positive on the coaching staff.
Well, see, I don't think, and see, here's the thing. People like Jason Kidd or Mark Jackson who get their first jobs or second jobs, and they're getting foundational jobs. You're setting the course. I don't think Mark Jackson did a bad job in Golden State considering where they were. I don't think Jason Kidd did a bad job.
Sure.
He put the ball in Giannis' hands. But to your point, if LeBron is going to be there, and LeBron is a main deterrent from the outside looking in because you're not sure what LeBron you're going to get. You're not sure if you're going to get the credit or the blame if you win or lose. Then LeBron has to be in there and say, hey, look, okay, you know what? Some of the things that I'm not necessarily known for, the being on time, the behind-the-scenes stuff, I'm going to be better at that. I'm going to cede some of this spotlight to you. I'm going to let you, be a positive influence and everything else. And then you sort of let Jeannie and all those guys say, okay, here's the max contract. And let that be that.
And I think that's the only path for the Lakers. I agree with you 1,000%. Now, there's a guy like Kawhi that wants to be in Los Angeles, but the problem for the Lakers is the Clippers obviously are right there and have a much more compelling case on every front, organizationally, team, coach, GM, except for they don't have LeBron. Like, they're the only reason that anyone right now that is trying to win a championship would consider the Lakers is if they have enormous faith in LeBron and his ability to continue playing at the level he was playing at pre- and post-injury last season. But I don't blame people in this. By the way, I haven't heard this from anyone in LeBron's camp, but assuming the report's true, I wouldn't blame people for being like, you got to be kidding me. We signed up. We knew there would be a little bit of a circus because it's the Lakers and because LeBron's joining the Lakers. But we didn't know it was going to be the off-brand, like the circus that doesn't have any, it has no, every week there's a new storyline. Every week there's a new leak, new characters being added to the plot line. Hey, here's Linda Rambis. Now Tim Harris has a starring role. And so if you're not concerned about it, to me, you're not paying attention.
See, what is the confidence level right now in a lot of these big-time free agents in playing with LeBron James? Because what we're hearing more and more of now is these guys want to go out and make a name of their own and don't want to play, whatever you want to phrase it, second fiddle or number two or even 1A to LeBron James.
I think that what we've seen from a narrative standpoint, as far as KD said no one can recruit him. We've heard also from Kyrie that he wanted to be the guy. He wanted his own team. That didn't go as well, so we don't know if that's his plan moving forward. Kyrie probably is going to be like, you know something? I need to, even in his mind, he might think I'm the 1A, but realize that, man, I need a big-time star because I don't want to have the postseason that I end up having there with Boston. I just believe that the best chance, because a lot of this stuff as far as people don't want to play with LeBron, that's a strong comment. Now, would people want to play in an environment where they had an opportunity to maybe get some credit and not have the circus media atmosphere around LeBron? Of course. Anybody would want to go to their job and be able to get better, but the truth of the matter is this is what the Lakers need to do. They need to be able to trade for Anthony Davis. That's their best chance to be able to add a free agent because you know why? You can't mess up the room that way. It's a straight trade. David Griffin and the Lakers coming with some type of compensation, players and picks that you don't have to. Well, tell me how you're going to add a 3-and-D guy to. Tell me, does AD have to play the 5 spot? You don't have to go through all that because I just believe in free agency, they're at a disadvantage. And I got the list of free agents. The real possibilities are potentially 2, and that's Kawhi and Kyrie. Everyone else, to me, is an afterthought. It is, oh, man, it's a plan C. And I just believe the Lakers, man, they got a problem if they can't trade for AD because the other guys all, I believe, have at least as good an option or better option than the Lakers.
No, well, I just wanted so the audience understands, you believe KD is not a realistic option and that Clay is staying. And so that's why you're talking about of the top tier guys.
Yeah, I got a real list, not that other. That's
No, of course. And so I just wanted, because you don't look at Kemba or Jimmy Butler or Tobias Harris or
as that top tier
on that level, as those guys that would.
Do you think the Lakers would be excited about signing any one of those players right now?
I think they would with Jimmy Butler or Kemba Walker. I think they would walk away this summer and say, okay, if LeBron maintains, we can do it. Now, it would be a disappointment from Kawhi and Kyrie.
It would have to be a disappointment. You cleared the deck. After the Kobe thing, you've gotten rid of Randall. You've gotten rid of D'Angelo Russell. To clear the deck for 2 max contracts, and you got LeBron and what? Kemba?
Well, okay, but here's where it's different. If you get Anthony Davis, then Kemba Walker as a third piece, or Jimmy Butler as a third piece via free agency is a lot more palatable as opposed to them being the one thing.
Back on. Yes, but you can't
he can't be the number
just
2.
them and oh no. I don't think that's good enough to beat Golden State or whatever else is going to be developed in the East.
All right. Stick around. We got so much more to argue.
That's the first time both of y'all stopped talking.
Coming up, Jenna was unprepared. Could KD pick LA over New York? Speaking to Kevin Durant, that's next on First Things First. Yahoo senior NBA writer Vincent Goodwill joins us now. Hey, Vinny.
Good morning.
At one point yesterday, Nick got a little heated with you. Vincent came out.
My mama don't even call me.
There you go.
I would have gone with the middle name as well.
No, you wouldn't. No.
Vincent Archibald Goodwill. I made that up. Just
yeah. That ain't.
All right.
2 hold-ons.
That ain't.
Hold on.
Hold on. You didn't say nothing the second time.
He asked the question, didn't even expect an answer.
That all happened.
The Lakers, Vinny, are not in the playoffs, but are in the news yet again. Go figure. On Monday, Magic Johnson went on TV with the airing of the grievances, listed the reasons why he abruptly quit on the team. The same day, new head coach Frank Vogel was introduced. Now reports are coming out that LeBron's camp is indeed concerned all this Lakers dysfunction will, quote, sabotage free agency. You don't say. All right, Vinny, how did the Lakers land a big name this summer with everything that has been going on within this organization?
Say less or say nothing at all. You go into the room, you bring the championship trophies, you bring LeBron in there, and you be quiet. And you let LeBron do the talking. Because you have to turn this thing over to him. The more that Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss and Tim Harris and all these other people talk, the less attractive, the less appealing it's going to be because you're going to look like a scattered outfit. And I think you have to turn this thing over to LeBron and Frank Vogel and Jason Kidd, too.
and you laugh, but the Jason Kidd part of it, I don't think Jason Kidd's a good coach, and I think the Bucks this year are a good example of it. But Jason Kidd is well respected amongst players. Mm-hmm. Players like Jason Kidd, a lot of the stars in this league in the beginning of their careers played against Jason Kidd. So I think Jason Kidd is actually a positive for recruitment.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily a positive on the coaching staff.
Well, see, I don't think, and see, here's the thing. People like Jason Kidd or Mark Jackson who get their first jobs or second jobs, and they're getting foundational jobs. You're setting the course. I don't think Mark Jackson did a bad job in Golden State considering where they were. I don't think Jason Kidd did a bad job.
Sure.
He put the ball in Giannis's hands. But to your point, if LeBron is going to be there, and LeBron is a main deterrent from the outside looking in because you're not sure what LeBron you're going to get. You're not sure if you're going to get the credit or the blame if you win or lose. Then LeBron has to be in there and say, hey, look, okay, you know what? Some of the things that I'm not necessarily known for, the being on time, the behind-the-scenes stuff, I'm going to be better at that. I'm going to cede some of this spotlight to you. I'm going to let you, be a positive influence and everything else. And then you sort of let Jeannie and all those guys say, okay, here's the max contract. And let that be that.
And I think that's the only path for the Lakers. I agree with you 1,000%. Now, there's a guy like Kawhi that wants to be in Los Angeles, but the problem for the Lakers is the Clippers obviously are right there and have a much more compelling case on every front, organizationally, team, coach, GM, except for they don't have LeBron. Like, they're the only reason that anyone right now that is trying to win a championship would consider the Lakers is if they have enormous faith in LeBron and his ability to continue playing at the level he was playing at pre- and post-injury last season. But I don't blame people in this. By the way, I haven't heard this from anyone in LeBron's camp, but if, assuming the report's true, I wouldn't blame people for being like, you got to be kidding me. We signed up. We knew there would be a little bit of a circus because it's the Lakers and because LeBron's joining the Lakers, but we didn't know it was going to be the off-brand, like the circus that doesn't have any, that has no. Every week there's a new storyline. Every week there's a new leak. New characters being added to the plot line. Hey, here's Linda Rambis. Now Tim Harris has a starring role, and so they're. If you're not concerned about it, to me, you're not paying attention.
See, what is the confidence level right now in a lot of these big-time free agents in playing with LeBron James? Because what we're hearing more and more of now is these guys want to go out and make a name of their own and don't want to play, whatever you want to phrase it, second fiddle or number 2 or even 1A to LeBron James.
I think that what we've seen from a narrative standpoint, as far as KD said no one can recruit him. We've heard also from Kyrie that he wanted to be the guy. He wanted his own team. That didn't go as well, so we don't know if that's his plan moving forward. Kyrie probably is going to be like, you know something? I need to, even in his mind, he might think I'm the 1A, but realize that, man, I need a big-time star because I don't want to have the postseason that I end up having there with Boston. I just believe that the best chance, because a lot of this stuff as far as people don't want to play with LeBron, that's a strong comment. Now, would people want to play in an environment where they had an opportunity to maybe get some credit and not have the circus media atmosphere around LeBron? Of course. Anybody would want to go to their job and be able to get better, but the truth of the matter is this is what the Lakers need to do. They need to be able to trade for Anthony Davis. That's their best chance to be able to add a free agent because you know why? You can't mess up the room that way. It's a straight trade. David Griffin and the Lakers coming with some type of compensation, players and picks that you don't have to. Well, tell me how you're going to add a 3-and-D guy to. Tell me, does AD have to play the 5 spot? You don't have to go through all that because I just believe in free agency, they're at a disadvantage. And I got the list of free agents. The real possibilities are potentially 2, and that's Kawhi and Kyrie. Everyone else, to me, is an afterthought. It is, oh, man, it's a plan C. And I just believe the Lakers, man, they got a problem if they can't trade for AD because the other guys all, I believe, have at least as good an option or better option than the Lakers.
No, well, I just want to, so the audience understands, you believe KD is not a realistic option and that Clay is staying. And so that's why you're talking about the top tier guys.
Yeah, I got a real list, not that other. That's
No, of course. And so I just wanted, because you don't look at Kimba or Jimmy Butler or Tobias Harris or
as that top tier
on that level, as those guys that would.
Do you think the Lakers would be excited about signing any of one of those players right now?
I think they would with Jimmy Butler or Kimba Walker. I think they would walk away this summer and say, okay, if LeBron maintains, we can do it. Now, it would be a disappointment from Kawhi and Kyrie.
It would have to be a disappointment. You cleared the deck after the Kobe thing. You've gotten rid of Randall. You've gotten rid of D'Angelo Russell. To clear the deck for 2 max contracts, and you got LeBron and what? Kimba?
Well, okay, but here's where it's different. If you get Anthony Davis, then Kimba Walker as a third piece, or Jimmy Butler as a third piece via free agency is a lot more palatable as opposed to them being the ones that
back on. Yes, but you can't
he can't be the number
just
2.
Them and oh no. I don't think that's good enough to beat Golden State or whatever else is going to be developed in the East.
Thank you for listening to the First Things First podcast. Remember, leave us a review and tell us what you think. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts and catch us on FS1 Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern. For Cris Carter and Nick Wright, I'm Jenna Wolfe. So long, everybody.